Major Mohammed Ali Shah is joining me on the broadcast for this story. Sir, very good morning to you. My first question would be, what is exactly the Iranian model of governance? And could you please explain it for our audiences, how that model could be implemented in Afghanistan at this point where they're talking about implementing democracy with theocracy? So what are your thoughts on this?
See, apart from Iran, there are also countries like Afghanistan, like Saudi Arabia, where they also have Sharia law. And Sharia law, actually, the interpretation of Taliban of the Sharia law is very, very different. The problem is, they haven't really understood the Sharia law themselves. And when they haven't understood the Sharia law, like in Iran, for example, there's theocracy and democracy. That means there's religion and then there's democracy at the same time. But Iran, again, earlier, if you remember, it used to be they had very strict laws. They have become lenient over a time, all right. I will give you another example of Saudi Arabia. Why only Iran? See, in Saudi Arabia, when there's Sharia law, women earlier could not drive over there. Now at least they are opening up slowly with Prince Salman over there. They are allowed to drive after years. Because I remember about 30 years back, about 20 foreign diplomats, these ladies, they broke the law. They said, let's drive. Let's see what happens. They were all locked up by the Mutawwas. Mutawwas is the religious police over there who ensure that you cannot be out in the streets during the prayer time, salah time, the 5 times a day when they have the salah time. The laws over there are so strict that even when people actually leave their shops or their businesses during prayer time unarmed or unmanned, so no one actually attempts a theft over there. For murder, drugs and rape, one is beheaded. For theft, the wrist is chopped and then the elbow and then the arm, like that. So they have such strict laws, which is okay. I mean, not getting into that. But Afghanistan, for that matter, I refuse to believe somewhere that Taliban will even slightly be open slightly. Like, for example, just 2 days back, their spokesperson, he declared that education will not be co-ed education. It will be either the girls will be separate, the boys will be separate. Now, in countries like Iran and Saudi Arabia, a lady is expected to wear the abaya, not the burqa, abaya, not the hijab. See, there's a difference between burqa, hijab and abaya. A lot of people normally think that a burqa is a veil covering your face and abaya is just covering your head with that gown. And hijab is when you cover only your face, only your head. So without an abaya, at least a lady cannot go out, and she cannot go out without a mehram. Mehram is what? Mehram is either a husband, brother, or son. So it is very stringent, yes. They're very, very strict, yes, no doubt. And it is extra strict, in fact. Alcohol is strictly permitted. Drugs, as I told you, for drugs, murder and rape, they straight away behead. And they leave the body hanging for some time, for at least 24 hours, for people to see that that's an example. So that is a different thing altogether. Now, in Afghanistan, when Taliban says that women would be allowed to work, they would be allowed to be educated, well, regarding doctors, because they need the doctors, males over there are not capable enough to actually do much. They don't have that intellect level as what I presume. So the women are, but anchoring, media, they've already declared no. Isn't this hypocrisy? That Taliban says no to their ladies, alright? But they sit for an interview with a lady anchor of a different channel, of a different nationality. What big hypocrisy. Right. And I will tell you my personal experience. In the year 96, my father was the defense attaché to Saudi Arabia. And I used to visit him frequently there. I was in a boarding school. So when I used to come to Saudi Arabia, they used to have farmhouse picnics in Arabs, sheikhs' houses. So the ladies used to come in burqas, in abayas, in hijab, especially burqas, hardcore burqas. But the moment they would remove the burqas in the farmhouse parties, I am telling you, they had the skimpiest clothing, which you can actually imagine. So that is again hypocrisy. Arabs cannot have alcohol. They're not allowed to consume alcohol. But yet, in Saudi Arabia, there is a restriction for diplomats can keep alcohol and they can consume alcohol. So these sheikhs, they make friends with the diplomats, that not treating it like a pub or a bar, that oh, if I have a diplomatic friend, I will be allowed to consume alcohol. So I think it's a very, very patriarchal society, and which is again combined with hypocrisy. I will say that.
Right. Thank you, Major Mohammed Ali Shah, for joining us on the broadcast and sharing your insights.